This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
University of West Florida head football coach Pete Shinnick on this edition of Conversations. The fall of 2016 will be a dream come true for many in Northwest Florida. College football will have arrived. The University of West Florida will launch its inaugural season. The man at the helm, head coach Pete Shinnick. Coach Shinnick brings over a quarter of a century of coaching experience to Argonaut football. Previously, he was head coach at Azusa Pacific and UNC Pembroke. He was an assistant coach at several schools, including Arkansas and Clemson. He played his college ball at Colorado, where he received his bachelor's degree. He would later earn a master's from Clemson. You might say football is in the blood. Coach Shinnick's father, Don Shinnick, spent 13 years playing for the Baltimore Colts. After his playing career was over, he served as an assistant with Chicago, St. Louis, Oakland, and New England. We're pleased to have Coach Pete Shinnick on this edition of Conversations. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
What a big task. You had to come in and start from basically scratch and build a football program. What was it like?
Well, it's a long process. So, as we get ready for the fall of 2016, I got hired in February of 2014. So we've just been banging away at this thing one day at a time. And really, when they say start from scratch, we really did start from scratch. When Dave Scott and Judy Ben said, we want you to be the head coach, they put me in a room, had a telephone, and that was about it.
Is that right? Now, this is not your first time of starting a program from scratch, right?
Correct. At UNC Pembroke, we did the same thing. So 10 years ago, started this process, and were able to go through that. And obviously, doing it a second time, we learned quite a bit of what needs to take place, had a great idea on the timeline of certain events that need to take place and what needs to happen. So feel very fortunate to get that done at Pembroke. Yeah. But still, you're starting with nothing when you came here.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge of putting the UWF program together?
Well, it's always about name recognition, and our university, great university, well known in other sports. Golf and tennis. Baseball won a national championship a few years back. Tennis has won 3. Men's golf has won 3. Women's soccer won a national championship. But for my community, the people that I'm dealing with, University of West Florida was just a sign on I-10 that they drive by on their way to other schools, whichever direction they were going. And so it's about getting it out that, hey, we do have football now, and it is worth you coming out and taking a look at our campus and taking a look at our university.
Is the hardest part recruiting?
Oh, it is, most definitely. Because when we started, no one knew anything about us. They might have heard of us. Now, we do have over 77,000 graduates. A lot of them are in this area from the university. But still, unless you came here or did something else, UWF and football were not connected. And so going out and trying to create excitement for an unknown brand has always been a challenge, and we're getting to the point now where people are excited. Obviously, playing in 2016, we have a lot to look forward to, and it's starting to become a reality for a lot of people.
Where were you able to do the bulk of your recruiting? Where did you have the most success?
The majority of it is in the state of Florida, but obviously where we're located, Lower Alabama, does have quite a few very talented young men that play football. And so we basically have said that the majority of our recruiting is going to be Tuscaloosa to Tampa, that region right there. The first successful parts of, the couple of recruiting classes that we've put together, a lot of them have been Orlando, Jacksonville, that area.
Right. How much do you anticipate you'll be able to recruit from just the Northwest Florida area?
We would love to be able to, get more guys from that area. Each year we've targeted a lot of young men from that area. We've just had some competitions from some bigger schools. A lot of the guys that we have, said would be great fits for us have gotten some really good offers. They've gotten some FCS offers, and we're excited that they get that opportunity. Being a Division II school, we're not able to quite compete with that type of an offer, but there's a lot of talent in this area, and there's a lot of young men who play at a very high level. And each spring, we're in this process now. We go out and we evaluate, who's going to be able to fit what we're looking for in our program. Number one, they've got to be able to get into the university. We do have some, a little higher standards than the average Division II school. And then they've got to be able to fit what we're doing both offensively and defensively.
I read somewhere where you said Division II fits you as a person, you as a coach. Why is that?
Well, it's just been a great lifestyle that, I was on the sideline with two Division I coaches last night watching a scrimmage, and they both had flown in and they're flying out and they're going all over the country. And, I've got 4 children and I've been able to spend a lot of time with them. Yeah. And it's just, recruiting's more local. You're not all over the country trying to, get people. The schedule's a little better, more conducive. I feel very fortunate and blessed to be able to spend the amount of time that I have, with my family and watching my children grow up.
Yeah. And I want to back up for a second. We were talking about the players here in the Northwest Florida area, and you think about you have Emmitt Smith in the Hall of Fame, Derek Brooks in the Hall of Fame, Josh Sitton, Super Bowl Green Bay Packers. Who else am I missing? I mean, many players who have just had a tremendous amount of success in this area. What is it about this area that makes good football players?
I'll tell you, it's fun. I have no idea, but it's fun to watch. It really is. And going back with Emmitt and Derek, and just you continue to name the names. And I think last year there were 14 Pensacola area high school athletes that were playing in the NFL. I mean, there were 3, I think, in with Green Bay and Arizona, on playoff teams. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know what it is. I just hope it continues, and that they continue to develop great talent and we get an opportunity to recruit it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, as you put the team together, how do you feel about it as you head into 2016?
Well, I feel great about where we are right now. I think, number one, the community's just been extremely supportive of what we're trying to do. Last fall, we had 5 scrimmages. 4 of them were on campus. We're getting about 700-800 people at the ones on campus, and then we held one downtown in Wahoo Stadium where we're playing all our home games next year. And when we were, downtown in the Wahoo Stadium, had over 3,000 people show up for a scrimmage. So you're talking about a scrimmage that started at 11 o'clock on a Saturday, and we had 3,000 people show up. And so that's been great. We had a couple thousand show up for our spring game, which was on campus. So, I mean, it's really been fun, and that's really been good. And, as far as the development of the players and the program, we are a young team. We do have a lot of young players. We have been able to get some transfers in to add some age to our roster, but really feel good about where we're at right now. First-year program, getting ready to play, our first games in 2016, but feel good about our development.
I'm curious, what do you think football will do for the University of West Florida, and what will it do for the Northwest Florida community?
Well, I think, number one, for the university, I think it just really kind of completes the experience for a lot of people. West Florida has really been a commuter school, and it's been a university that did not and really didn't do much to keep students around on the weekend and to keep them on campus. We had the same experience when we went to UNC Pembroke. No one really stayed around. They kind of came in Monday through Thursday and then went home. Football came. It really kept the students around. Whether they went to the game or not, they wanted to be around the experience and they wanted to be around the activities that were taking place with that. And then I think for the community, for us being downtown, and our university has the historic trust downtown property and doing other things downtown, I think it'll just bring our university closer to downtown. The Wahoos have had tremendous success, and I mean, that has really become, what everybody talks about in the summer. You're going to a Wahoo game. The Ice Flyers have had great success. We want to be a part of that, and I think bringing football on fall Saturdays will just add to the experience of what downtown has to offer. Again, we play a noon game or we play a 6 o'clock game. I promise you, downtown restaurants and downtown businesses will get our crowd either early or late, right. Being downtown and spending time in their establishments.
We were talking before we went on, and I mentioned in the intro, your father played for the Baltimore Colts, and if I am correct, he still holds the record for the most interceptions by a linebacker. Is that correct?
He does. He has 37 interceptions, most interceptions by a linebacker in the NFL. Okay. Ray Lewis had gotten close. So I have 4 brothers. We were all very excited when Ray Lewis retired, so that he wouldn't beat that record. But we really think it's a record that'll probably stick around for a while, just because of the substitutions and the way linebackers are treated now, because they play a lot more DBs in passing situations. Back when Dad played, I mean, whether it was first down, third down, and long, whatever, he was going to be in the game. He just played the entire game. Now they sub out. They've got different packages. Bring defensive backs in. So that number for a linebacker, it should stick for a while.
What was it like growing up with your dad playing in the National Football League?
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, it really was. And, you know, he did work a lot of long hours when he was an assistant coach, and there were times where, you know, you wouldn't see him as much. But he really did a great job of, when he was with us, being at home, when he was around us, separating the two worlds. And so I loved it. I mean, we would go to practices on Saturday during the season. We would, you know, run around the stadium. We'd go up to training camp when he was with the Raiders. And you know, I'm in school, and, you know, one of the kids, when my dad was with the Raiders, one of the kids was like, hey, I just got Ken Stabler's autograph. Right. And I'm like, that's great. I was playing catch with him on Saturday, you know. So, I mean, it was just a fun world to be a part of. Yeah. You know, he goes to the Super Bowl when he's with the Raiders. They beat Minnesota. He went to the Super Bowl when he was with the Patriots as an assistant coach. Not a great game. Lost to the Bears, got killed. But just that whole experience, being a part of that. You know, I was able to fly on a couple of team planes to some playoff games, and just to be around that was a blast, and really loved every minute of it.
Was he your biggest influence?
Oh, most definitely. In the coaching world, and really just as a husband and as a father also. He just did a great example of setting what family should look like, and, you know, how you should conduct yourself. I've run into a lot of my dad's former players. And really been fortunate and blessed to just have those conversations of them telling me the type of man that my dad was, and the type of impact and influence that he had on their lives. And, you know, that's been fun. I mean, I mentioned I got 4 brothers. I'm the one who's in coaching. So I end up just having to run into people that Dad coached or was a part of a staff that this guy played on, and to just hear the stories is fun. And so, you know, his impact and influence on me, you know, carries a lot of weight and goes a long way.
At what point in your life did you say, I want to be a coach?
Well, you know, I went through college, and I got a degree in marketing, and my senior year, or the summer before my senior year, I was offered an internship at a steel and metal corporation. Got an opportunity to do advertisement, do marketing, you know, do some sales and that type of thing. And I kept going in and sit at a desk, work a little bit, do this, back. And I did it for about 4 weeks, and I'm like, okay, this is not me. I mean, and it was good money, and it would have been a great job coming out. I mean, great pay and everything. And I had always had coaching in the back of my mind. And about 4 weeks into, you know, the summer before my senior year, it was like, I need to get into coaching. And then went on the adventure of trying to get a job as a graduate assistant, and have never looked back. And really don't feel like I've had a day where I've worked. I mean, I really feel fortunate to do what I do. Love it. Love the interaction with the young men that I get to work with, and the opportunity to, you know, be an influence in their lives.
Yeah. What do you think what do you think is the most important part about your job?
Well, I think I've got an opportunity, you know, every year to influence 120 plus young men. And, you know, as we continue to grow as a society and try to raise up men who are going to, you know, impact our culture and are going to, you know, have the opportunity to go out into the workforce, I got an opportunity every year to really give them an insight as to what I think success looks like. You know, we have one of our goals in the program is to help each guy become a better husband, father, employer, employee. So we can kind of set that example as to what that looks like. Really give them some building blocks and some foundations in their life to say, if you do these things, you got an opportunity to be successful in life. Football teaches tremendous amount of just life skills. We're going to ask a guy to be on time. We're going to ask somebody to be disciplined. Not everything's going to go right. Not everything's going to go perfect. We're going to be out in the Florida August heat, trying to get guys to be on the same page and do things to a very high level. And in doing that, we get an opportunity to talk about adversity. We get an opportunity to talk about, how you can overcome obstacles in your life. And so I see the biggest thing I do is just really educating them on an opportunity and a way to be successful later on in life.
When you and your staff go recruiting, you're obviously looking for great athletic ability, but what else are you looking for in a young man?
Well, you're really looking for somebody who has great character and is willing to make the right decisions. Because college is really about choices, and the person who makes the most wisest choices throughout their 4 or 5 years is going to end up with a degree. And so can you handle, being a self-starter? Can you put yourself in a situation where someone's not always watching over you? College is different than high school. High school, you walk down the hall and you go to another class. College, you walk out of a classroom and you might not have another class for 2 hours. How are you going to spend those 2 hours? You're going to go back to sleep? You're going to go talk to somebody, play video games? What's going to take place? So we really want somebody who understands that, and somebody who, really has the vision to see a University of West Florida degree hanging on their wall, because they've got to make all those decisions throughout the course of their 4 or 5 years with us to get that degree. And then obviously we're looking for the right student, a person who we feel can graduate from the University of West Florida. And if they meet those 2 criteria, they have the right character, they have the right makeup, they fit us academically, then obviously what's going to stand out is what we see on the field. And I've got a great staff that does a fantastic job evaluating talent and what we see on the field. And they also do a great job sitting down and interviewing really each young man to see if he'd be a great fit for our program.
What advice would you give to a young man in high school who has aspirations to play college ball, and not just to him, but to his parents as well?
Sure. Number one is academically, just take care of your business. Just do what you need to do. I can't tell you how many guys I've watched on film and liked, and then looked at their high school transcript and said, we can't do anything with them. And so a lot of guys think, well, I can get that fixed, I can get it worked out. Starting in the 9th grade, do well. And then the other is, don't be afraid to take the ACT or the SAT. Some people are going to wait and hold off. I want to study for it. Take it, see what it's like. Get a few of those done, get a few of those in so that you have a test score. We've recruited numerous young men where they have a great GPA, but it's November or December of their senior year and they've yet to take the ACT or the SAT. So we want to make sure that they do that, but really take care of business academically. And then the other thing is, just know that everything you do, people are watching. There's more and more stories out there of college coaches not recruiting young men because what they see on Twitter, what they see on Instagram, what they see on Facebook.
Football, it seems to me now, is maybe more than ever more of a mental game. I mean, you've got to be smart to play football in today's world, especially, well, even at the high school level, but especially college and pro. Elaborate on that.
Well, there's just a lot of moving parts, and there's just a lot going on, and we're going to ask guys to really comprehend numerous aspects of the game, whether you're on offense or whether you're on defense. There is a lot going on. Do you understand the down and distance? Do you understand the situation? Do you understand that when this guy lines up here, this is what he likes to do, but when he backs up and moves over here, this is what he likes to do? And so, as coaches, we study this 24/7. That's all we do. And then we get a few hours a day with our players, and we're trying to impart that knowledge on them. But the game's moving very fast. I mean, back in the day, you'd huddle up, you'd break, you kind of walk up to the line of scrimmage, and you'd get a chance to look at things. Now everybody's playing fast-paced, defenses are blitzing, people are coming from everywhere, and we're asking our young men to see it all, comprehend it all, and protect the guy in front of them or behind them.
How much time does your players spend? How much time do your players spend, say, in the classroom versus on the field?
Well, most guys are going to take somewhere between 12 and 15 hours a semester.
And when I mean classroom, let me back up.
In the meeting room,
as far as the meeting room, as far as studying,
we're going to spend anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour in the meeting room, and then we're going to spend about 2 hours and 10 minutes on the field, practice-wise. Okay. So it's about half the time that we spend on the field. But then in today's day and age, everybody has access to our video. We send it to our players. They look at it. And, a lot of our guys are watching film, somewhere on their own, probably 3 to 4 hours a week on their own, just looking at the opponent and seeing what they're doing and how they're lining up, so that when they show up, they have questions, as opposed to, back when I played, everything was 16 millimeter.
Right.
We weren't taking that home or doing that. Whatever coach said, we were going to do.
Right. Take me through. I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of the audience is curious too. What's it like? What's that week like leading up to the big game?
Sure.
What do you do? What do your players do? What do your assistant coaches
Sure.
do?
Take you through. Sunday, we probably meet a little less than the average team on Sunday. We get in as a staff anywhere from about 2 to 3 on Sunday. Sunday is our players' day off, but we'll continue to work. And by 2 o'clock, I want to have my coaches have already broken down the game that we played. So if we play a 6 o'clock game, it gets done at 9 o'clock. I'm asking them to get up in the morning and grade that film. And so if you're the offensive line coach, you've got 5 guys to grade. So I want a plus minus on every play. I want to know what he did right. I want comments. So they spend a lot of, if they're not going to church or not doing whatever they're doing, they spend a lot of Sunday up till that 2 o'clock staff meeting grading the film. Then we'll watch the film as a staff. And then we will break off after that, and we'll start breaking down our next opponent. So really till, we go to sleep on Sunday night, we're watching the upcoming opponent. And then we're in Monday morning at about 6 o'clock, and we'll pick up right where we left off and start looking for tendencies, start looking for what they do on both sides of the ball. What are some of their common themes? What are the things that we prepare for? And Monday is really our longest day. We're about 6 o'clock in the morning till about 8:30 at night. Wow. Now, a lot of staffs, I'm going home early. Right. But, for a lot of staffs, they stay later than that. Tuesday, we're in around the same time, and we spend a little more time with our players on that day. Tuesday and Wednesday are kind of our heavier practice days. And as a staff, we go home typically on Tuesday and Wednesday nights after practice. But when a guy goes home, now we want him to, continue to watch some film, but then that's really our recruiting nights as well. So they'll be on the phone or they'll be texting recruits, that are in the area. They're either inviting them to the home game or inviting them to the game the following week. And so by Wednesday, we will have gotten a lot of the game plan done. And then on Thursday, it's kind of a normal day for us. I'd say, probably 8 o'clock till 6 o'clock. That's kind of a normal day for us. And then, Friday is a light day for us. And we'll spend a lot of time, if we've got a home game, we'll talk about who's coming, what recruits are coming to the game, what that looks like. And then Saturday, depending on if it's a day game or a night game or a travel game, all depends on how we're doing it. Yeah. So during the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are really our longest, hardest days where we're putting the majority of the game plan together. And our philosophy really is, if we're not comfortable with it on Wednesday, then, we're not going to run it in the game.
Right. Interesting. Once you get on the field, what's the toughest part of your job?
It's really if they're going to do something different. You study somebody, and we'll get 5-6 games on somebody, and you'll probably watch all of them, but then you'll really break down 3 of them to where, you got about 180 plays that you're looking at on somebody saying, okay, what do they do and what do they like to do? And then when you get out there, if they do something different, it's how quickly can you adjust and how quickly can you get your team ready for something that they haven't seen.
It really is a chess match.
Yeah, no, it really is. And there's always the, aspect of something new is going to happen. But at the same time, you're always trying to stay one step ahead of the person on the other side calling the play. So I call the offense, and it's all about, okay, I'm doing something in this series, which in 3 series, I'm probably going to do something different, but I'm trying to set that up. And you're always trying to be one play ahead or one series ahead of the person that you're calling plays against.
Yeah. I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. For the player, what position is most demanding? Quarterback?
Well, quarterback is, because there's just so many things that they have to do. And in our system, we give the quarterback a lot of control. He controls the protection. He obviously controls the snap count. And then also we have a lot of check with me's, which is a play that could be a run or could be a pass based on what he sees defensively. defensively. So he really does have a lot on his plate. And he's responsible for, about 70% of what's going to take place offensively on the field.
Interesting. Let me bring something up that's obviously been in the media quite a bit in recent years. The whole concussion thing in football. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we've done amazing things to prevent them in the last 15 years with technology of helmets. Okay, we have one of my dad's helmets from the Baltimore Colts. And that was basically a suspension helmet, which your construction worker wears today. I mean, that's really what he was wearing back when he played. And he played 13 years in the NFL with that same helmet. So I think number one, science and technology have really advanced to where it is safer. Number two, I mean, it is a collision sport. It is, there are going to be those aspects where guys are going to get hit and things are going to take place. We obviously teach how to hit and the placement of the head and, how you can prevent a lot of those type of collisions where the concussion isn't going to be a part of it. The other part is I think we do a much better job with how we handle someone who has a concussion. When I played, well, you got dinged or, hey, you see stars, close your eyes for a little bit and we'll get you back in there. Now there is a really good protocol that keeps someone from hurting themselves. Typically, the first hit is the one that starts the process. If you can diagnose it and the player will be honest with you and let you know, and we can prevent that second hit from happening, there's a much greater chance of them fully recovering with no issues whatsoever. I will add, though, that, statistically speaking, football does have, a good number of concussions, but if you look up skateboarding and women's soccer, you'll also see a large number of concussions in those sports that, football obviously gets the brunt of it, but there are other sports that, there are issues with concussions as well.
I have less than a minute left. What are you most excited about for 2016?
Well, we're excited September 10th, playing in Wahoo Stadium, our first home game, 6 p.m. So we're looking forward to that date and looking forward to having great crowd support and uniting the city of Pensacola and the University of West Florida.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the community and best of luck to you. Coach Pete Shinnick. And by the way, you can keep up with him and all of the University of West Florida football team at goargos.com. You can find more of our conversations online at wsre.org/conversations, as well as on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take wonderful care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.
Support for this program is provided in part by these corporate sponsors. And by viewers like you.